First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Top of the day to you. Welcome to New Life Recovery Show, where if I think better, I do better. Special guest today is none other than the new associate publisher of BeMoreNews.com, entrepreneur, founder, CEO, Books and Bounty, Stephanie Henderson. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Donnie, and good afternoon, everyone tuning in this afternoon. It's a lovely day outside. Actual great day for mental health today. I hope you're doing well on this sunny day, Donnie.
I am grateful. It's just you and I today. And
Who's that I hear?
that's Mr. Pharaoh. How is are you a Ravens fan?
I am a Ravens fan. I'm also, by way of my boyfriend, a Raiders fan as well. But I am a fan of the Ravens, of course. It's my hometown. It's the football team I grew up with.
I want to introduce you to a new term.
Okay.
Man friend.
Man friend. You know what? That is something, we've been debating. Like, boyfriend seems so juvenile. We really are partners in life, but he doesn't prefer that term. Where'd you get the term man friend from?
A boy versus a man.
That's true, and that is exactly what he is. I think it's a better term. It's more describes more of the situation.
We got enough boys out here. I was just reading about well, that's neither here nor there. but language, I have a friend, he says language governs thought. Like there's a phrase called speak life.
Yes.
And it's amazing how sometimes we can sabotage, and I'm not talking about your relationship. But I'm talking about, say you're dealing with something, and if you take a glass of water that's filled halfway, is it half empty or half full?
To me, it's half full, but it all depends on your perspective.
But us optimists tend to lean towards the positive. Half full, I can't do this. Well, if you say you can't, you can.
That's true. It all starts up here.
If you say you can, you can. Just a matter of speaking life over situations. So anyway, this is the New Life Recovery Show. Special thank you to Ven McCormick of New Life Recovery Center. They deal with addiction, but this show is about more than just drugs and alcohol. It's also about gambling. Some people watch too much porn. Some people sabotage their relationship. Some people are managing, dealing with managing stress, or some of us have children who we want to hold down in a shallow puddle of water with both hands around their neck. But today I wanted to speak with you about entrepreneurship and parenting. And I guess in your case, well, obviously in your case, it will be motherhood and entrepreneurship. How do you manage? And just stepping out there and taking a leap of faith in starting a business can be, I don't like the word, but overwhelming.
Yes. It can be overwhelming, and it is overwhelming at first, especially when you have all the things and all the ideas. You have all the things that you want to do, all the things that you want to create. You can see the vision, right? All the way to the end. But what I found, two things. One, I found in this short few, we're almost at the 30-day now mark, Donnie. We'll be at the 30-day mark next week. With Books and Bounty. So what I found in these first 30 days, it's really focusing in. And Tasmir Williams, another associate of the Black USA News Network, she has been very helpful with, she runs the DM firm. She's been very helpful with coaching me and sort of focusing my attention, listening to all these ideas I have, and really putting down on one, where are you going to focus on these first 90 days? And I think my background, my most recent background, is in digital publishing, actually working as a product manager. And I said, Steph, you know how to do this. You know how to start small, fail fast, and iterate and keep going, because that is what they teach you as a part of innovating with digital solutions. And starting off in entrepreneurship, I think that's the first thing that we have to learn is where to focus in on our energy, where to focus in on the audience and who we're trying to reach, and whether the first few steps that you need to take in those first 90 days to achieve those smaller goals that you can then iterate on. And that's really helped me keep my focus, not go crazy. And then there's a few other things, but that was the thing that I think has really helped me the most. Write down everything, but then let's focus it down, funnel it down to what is most important in these first 90 days.
You mentioned Casimir Gathers.
Yes, Gathers, excuse me. Yes, Casimir Gathers of the DM firm.
The one and only Casimir Gathers.
The one and only Donnie. I'm so grateful for that connection. She has been a great ear for me as I'm getting Books and Bounty off the ground. So I highly recommend her as a coach and strategist for anyone out there looking for the same sort of uh, opportunity and advice.
You know, she's the mom of a new baby.
Yes. And I think she has an older toddler as well. But yeah.
Well,
And
I thought you weren't going to show today.
You know what?
So.
I'm a working mom and I make things happen.
We were just talking about this.
Move things around, I get the baby situated, and I make it happen. So good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just seeing your text.
Oh, well, you know, I was up early this morning and I got a business too, but you know, I try to make things happen. I move things around, you know?
Well, why don't you take it from here? Welcome back, Princess Williams Evans. And I have to tell you, you two are among the oldest mentees that I have. I guess Catalina Bird have you both built. She goes back to the mid-90s. But I am so proud of both of you. Wow. Stephanie, tell them how we met.
We met in high school internship around, it was maybe 2003, 2002, 2003, because it was going into my senior year.
Oh, I was gone about 02.
02 or 03. Yeah, it may have been 02 then. It may have been my sophomore going into my junior, but it was definitely, I was upperclassman in high school. I was interning through Baltimore Youth Works, and I got a job as a communications assistant. I don't remember the title, but I worked in the communications department for the empowerment zone. And Donnie, you were a manager in that department and took me under your wing. And I was completely attracted to your energy, this big ball of fire, this big voice that shot it straight, straight and narrow. And you've been riding with me ever since. You rode with me through all those trials and tribulation with Pride Magazine at the University of Virginia. Oh my goodness. You did not like coming down there, but you came.
Was it you that brought me down there?
Yes, it was me that brought you down there, and you cussed up.
I could not wait to leave. What's that? Lynchburg, Virginia?
It's Charlottesville.
Oh my gosh, Princess.
Yes.
I felt like it was a sundown town. You know what a sundown town is?
Please do elaborate.
You better be gone by sundown. And they have slave quarters on the quad.
Yeah, so UVA, for those that know, the most recent memory, the neo-Nazi march that was a few years ago, there was a young lady who died. There was more violence there. That took place in Charlottesville, Virginia. Charlottesville, Virginia, and University of Virginia is an old boy, Thomas Jefferson founded Southern University. And although I went there to study English languages and literature, it actually has the largest library of first edition and rare manuscripts in American literature. So if you study American literature, you'll probably end up at UVA for some time, even if it's just for research. But it is still, I remember, growing up in Baltimore, I thought like I've been around rich white people, black people, everybody, and in between. Oh no, was a culture shock nonetheless. The first time I was ever called a racial slur was at that school. Talk about protecting your mental health. It was a deep dive in holding on to your community at that school. You would think that when you visited, it wasn't HBCU because of we stayed so close knit. We created our own environments. We created our own activities and practices together. But it was a survival mechanism. And Donnie was one of the people who pushed me through. We were able to start a Black media symposium with other Black publications of predominantly white institutions. So ever since then, he has been a coach, mentor, and a friend. And Donnie, I will always appreciate our friendship, both professionally and otherwise. You have watched me
Damn,
grow.
man, and I know that you risked my life sending me down to the damn belly of the beast of the KKK.
Yeah, you came. You didn't want to come. You came back. You came twice. You did not want to come, but you did it.
Lord. Ooh, thank you, God. Princess, tell them how we met.
I met Donnie at a Goucher College event. At that time, I recall attending an event where Goucher was interviewing an author. And I believe Donnie attended this particular event representing BeMoreNews.com, the company that he created. And I happened to be a student in the audience. I needed an internship in order to graduate from Goucher College, located in Towson, Maryland. And so I reached out to Donnie in efforts to secure my internship site. And he said, yeah, come on. And ever since, I believe the year was maybe 2005, 2006. And I finished my internship with him all that many years ago. And we've been connected 20 plus years later.
Mm-hmm.
From Donnie, I was able to watch him interview some of the most prominent and influential people in the state of Maryland. I call him a mental Rolodex because there isn't a number that he hasn't stored in his mind, and he doesn't forget digits. He's not one of those people to reverse the beginning digit with the back digit. He knows the number, okay? It's up to him to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And, he can come to you and say, okay, Princess, write this name down. Write this name down.
Yeah.
You need to know this person. You need to know this person too.
Yeah.
So I was a young woman just trying to keep up. And so that was the beginning of me understanding the world of media. Media is a 24/7 business. It never shuts down. And it's a big adjustment if you're accustomed to a 9 to 5 job. Understanding that, when the news comes in and they need someone to do a voice or they need someone to write a story, this is all about, this is BeMoreNews.com. Sometimes Donnie does not sleep because he's up working. And that's the nature of being an entrepreneur. And that's something I'm still trying to actually come to terms with. And it's an important element even for my business as a voiceover artist. And I just now realized it. I get auditions sometimes throughout the day, throughout the night, at 1:00 in the morning, at very random times. And I've had to figure out ways to shift. It's taken me a year to figure some of this out. But some of it, talking about mental health, some of this shifting, even coming from the standpoint of a 24/7 news business, is essential to paying the bills and being able to fund one's business, kind of having that availability. So there have been times, like when I did an interview for Tab Time, when I was the voiceover for Escalate Her, an event that happened, I believe, in May of 2024. I was up all night working. I didn't sleep. I think I turned that project in. Actually, it was supposed to be in at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and they sent it back to me asking me for edits and changes. So I was up the whole day. The event started at 5. They needed the last cut at 4, and I was the one doing everything. They hired me to do the voiceover. I ended up doing the editing and the voiceover. So I was up all day. But that's what business is. And I kind of learned that when I was working with BeMoreNews.com, that the nature and world of all things journalism, media, anything with television tied to it, even radio, you kind of sometimes have to be ready to pivot. And so that's a skill that, like this morning, I reached out to Donnie. I says, I wasn't sure if I was going to be here today because my son wasn't feeling 100%. But as a mom, I understand. And sometimes I have to tell my son, listen, mommy has to work and mommy has a unique kind of business. And getting into that mindset of, listen, I can't, there's sometimes I just have to go and not worry about what everyone else is thinking, not worry about the family and the friends. Listen, I got things to do. People need me in the studio. My voice is essential. This is how I make a living. And it didn't always come together for me like that. But now I'm starting to understand what that means, what that looks like, and then how to adjust. And mental health is so important to take care of, because when you need sleep, let's face it, we all need sleep. It's scientifically proven. If you don't get sleep, the body will die. The body cannot, it's the one thing the body can't live without. The body can go days without water. It can go days without food, but sleep, it can't. It can't go that long before it shuts down. And so I've had to learn. So this morning, I think I got like 4 hours of sleep. But nonetheless, I'm here, and I find moments to take care of myself so that I still keep my skin looking good and still stay refreshed, and I can still use my voice for good. Yeah.
I was going to say that's something that you're a year in now, and I'm just almost hitting the 30-day mark, Princess. And I remember I had to tell my family the other day, like, sometimes I just get up and go. Like, I can't, like, I am working all the time now. They're like, you're on your phone all the time. And they're not used to that, because I really, up until my teenager is 16 and a half, about to get their driver's license. So that chauffeur hat is coming off soon, Princess. You'll get there. And I just had to let them know, like, yes, I am going to be working all the time right now. This is like, I'm trying to get this up and running. And until I get sort of those overhead operational costs covered, mom's drive is going to be 24/7 at this point. And I think it's understood. And I think actually Jaden watching me do this, just seeing the pride, and when we talk about it, now Jaden is starting to come to me asking me about what's going on with Books and Bounty. I'm trying to get them involved. Jaden is an avid reader like me, so getting them to curate some of and getting my family involved in the business. My mom helps me out with some of the administrative stuff. She replies to some of the inquiries. So really having, that village around you continues. We learn the value of a village as mothers. And I think one of the pointers I was reading about entrepreneurship and mental health is building that village and support system as an entrepreneur as well. And as you know, Donnie, on Books and Bounty, for the first few weeks here, one of the themes that I'm focusing in on is building my bookish community. And that's working with you and Princess and others, making these connections has really helped me, again, keep that focus, keep that drive, keep me in the right direction, letting me know that there are folks in my corner pushing me forward. And hopefully, Princess, I will get to that point where I have can find more balance. But one thing I learned, and I think that I learned from being with a startup at the Baltimore Banner, was that even though this is Books and Bounty is something that I'm creating, it's not me. And aligning my self-worth with the business is something I think I'm really going to have to struggle with, keeping that separation and that divide. And so, Donnie, I ask you now, you were starting DMG Global and Be More News when we first met over 20 years in. How do you find that balance, or have you? Does it ever happen? Like, are you one with Be More News?
I look at it like this. There was a book that we read when we went to Africa back in 2006. I went with Corey's dad, Princess. Corey was a partner, was a videographer, good with the Mac computer. gave us some of our early videos. His father had us all read this book called Purpose Driven Life. And I recommend it. It's by Rick Warren, Purpose Driven Life. And it reiterated that when you do what you love to do, you never have to work another day in your life.
Hey.
Everybody has a purpose. I mean, when I hear Princess doing her voiceovers, she told me offline that it's music. That when she performs, if you will, there's a cadence, there's a melody to it. And you can tell that she listens and she's very focused on delivering that voice. She loves what she does. You love what you do.
Yes, indeedy.
I'm still wrapping my brain around bounty, but I know you love what you do. And I wanted to make a comment. I hope that somewhat answers your question. The significance of a team. I remember there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with a team.
Hey.
God will put people in your life to help you. Sometimes your significant other is helpful, and sometimes you want to just kick them out the damn way, depending on who that person is. I'm just talking about my own situation. Sometimes the help does not come from who you think it should come from. And so the question I wanted to pose, I'm parlaying your question to Princess, is have you built a team? Because God will give you those people, but one, you got to recognize the gift, and two, that's when management, that's when business management comes in, and we as entrepreneurs have to relinquish some control. You got to trust people to do what they do.
Yeah.
So, Princess, have you started building your team a year in?
Excuse me. Actually, so I started my business about 3 years ago. And in terms of that team, I've contemplated what it looks like to hire an employee because it's a completely different side of business that requires a business plan. So my team right now consists of my babysitter who I recently hired because I had to come to the conclusion, and it's taken me a long time to find someone, but I had to come to the conclusion that in order for me to succeed at my line of work, that I can't be a full-time mom and a full-time entrepreneur, that I have to make a sacrifice. And that sacrifice that I've decided to make is one that will teach my son foundational education. So I've found an educator who is also skilled in the area of early childhood education, and someone who can teach my son how to read, someone who can work with my son and play with my child from the standpoint of educational development while also meeting early learning milestones. You know, in order to operate my business, I understand, that the one person I may eventually hire, not right now, is a marketing individual. But for right now, in the very beginning of business, it's really my team are the people who support me mentally, the people who cheer me on, the people who understand that, okay, I'm starting on this journey. I need some help. Not every job I do will be perfect, but somehow or another, I will get through it. And perfection is a part of mental health that also needs to be dealt with, because when you're an entrepreneur doing it all by yourself, you want things to be executed with a certain amount of finesse while also providing a professional quality product. So for me, for what I do on the mic, well, not everyone can do what I do on the mic because not everyone has my voice. No one has my voice. So when I get on the microphone, and I
No,
work.
look, you
It's
preach
like
it, princess.
this
Yes,
is
tell them.
it's another element of me that only I can do,
Hmm.
you know, and everything about what I do is not just reading a book in a monotone sound. It's looking at the copy and analyzing it from multiple different points of view and being able to deliver it on a very profound level that no one can duplicate. And someone asked me about AI. AI can't do what I do because my voice is just that unique.
Hmm.
It just can't. And with that being said, I've learned I have a quality. I have a quality. This is where learning and knowing one's gift is important. Protecting one's gift is important.
Yes, yes.
And, regardless of one's spiritual journey, um, there is a scripture in the Bible, and it talks about the fruits of the Spirit: peace, love,
Mm,
joy, kindness,
mm.
temperance. And those adjectives that describe, what constitutes a very good person, what constitutes um, hard work. Hard work is about temperance. It's about, you know, understanding that sometimes you might not see, a dollar earned today, you might not see that dollar until 15 days later as an entrepreneur,
Oh,
Or
depending.
you mean
more, or
those
more.
net 15, net 30,
I
Yeah,
net
say or more.
60, not net 90? I
yeah,
let them know I'm net 1 hour. As soon as I do that damn thing, give me my damn money. And you better learn to speak up for yourself.
yeah,
Somebody put you in that net 30 trick bag. Net
yeah.
45. No damn net 45.
Mm-mm.
Cash and carry, god daggone it.
So having
Own
terms and
delivery.
conditions that defined that define those accounts receivables is extremely important. But I'm the first to tell you that I'm still learning, I'm still getting there, and I don't have a large employee base
Well,
for
well,
what I do, and I don't really need one right now.
you have a support system, and you
I have
certainly can count on me
Yeah,
and
I have a
Steph.
little bit of I have a support system within my community. And now let me tell you, the other thing about business, in my business, everything I do is pay to play. What's that? What does that mean? I learned this early on, from someone who's doing very well in voiceover, but he's been doing it for many, many decades. And he taught me that everything in voiceover is pay to play. So, what is pay to play? It's investing in your business, it's investing in yourself. In order to see yourself grow, in order for your business to mature into any potential opportunity of it being ready for a sale, it requires a mindset that I have to spend some money in order to see a return.
You got to
So
invest
everything
back
I
into your
do is
business.
pay to play. Hmm?
Yeah, let me
You got
give
to
you.
invest back into your business. You get
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
check
and
for
into
5,000. At least put a grand of it back into your business.
Yes.
and Princess, what you said about investing back into yourself. So I am behind the scenes. I am a master of the written word when it comes to communication.
Yes.
What I realize in getting in front of the camera instead of behind it now is that I am not the best public speaker. I am great one on one. I am great in a group discussion. But when it comes to being on camera, when it comes to speaking in front of a crowd, although I think I'm the most confident person in the room, I found that I am not as comfortable, in settings like this. So I reinvested in myself, and I'm now in a public speaking course. And that's really been helpful just in the first couple of days, getting feedback, looking back over my own tapes, getting feedback from Donnie and others, remembering certain tips from way back in high school, oral communications. Shout out to Miss Rocca from Baltimore City College. She ended up at Western before she retired. She was one of the first people who put me on this path to the world of words. Um, and what you mentioned earlier, Donnie, about we strive for perfection all the time. And if she heard one of my first videos, as much as I said and etc. and on all those filler words, she would have been appalled. I would have failed all of the exams. And so looking at that and taking a note and say, let's take a couple dollars and reinvest in yourself, Stephanie. I think it's look. I just did it then, but I'm getting better and I'm improving. And I think, Princess, that's a good thing to take, is reinvesting in yourself, checking in with yourself when it comes to mental health and the next level that you want to get to. It really is about that, especially when you're a new entrepreneur and starting out. It's that constant reassessment of what you want to do, and focusing.
I'll tell you something
Absolutely.
else, Stephanie. It's also about taking advantage of every opportunity to
Can't
speak,
say no. It's hard
whether
to say.
it's Sunday school, whether it's a political event, if it's at the club. Use every possible opportunity. Take advantage of every chance you get to speak before people,
Mm,
and try different venues,
yeah.
different groups of people.
Yep.
I practice my Spanish all the time. Mi español no es perfecto, pero habla un poquito. I know enough to get me
Oh, you know
through,
a little bit.
a South American country or a Spanish
Hmm.
speaking community, but try. And I shout out to my aunt, more so my step aunt, but she's my dad's stepsister, but she was my Sunday school teacher.
Mm.
And if she called on me once, she called on me a million times. She always called on me. Aunt Idella, Donnie Boy, read this. That's what they call me, Donnie Boy. Donnie Boy,
Mhm.
read this. Donnie Boy, read this. Donnie Boy, read that. And I realized in retrospect, each one of those times, whether it was Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the Pentateuch, Revelations, whatever, each thing I read
Mhm.
got me a step of more confidence, got me an ounce of more confidence. And then the biggest test for public speaking was that time I went to court with my father. I had broken law, found myself, I think, in Western District Police Station. And
Mhm.
Doc Glover says, elbow me, the judge speaking to you, boy. Speak up.
Hey,
Talk like you talk when you're uptown.
yes.
Talking trash. And I never lost my voice. Don't lose your voice. Speak up. And for girls, society doesn't always empower our girls, however that works, to speak up. My daughter's little frame lady, but I've always pushed her. Speak up.
That's right.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. That's why. Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Steph. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we're talking about reinvesting and pouring back into ourselves and our business, and one of that is about seeking help for mental health when sort of that circle and community support system that we've all built around us, ourselves included in that, is not enough. And preparing for the show today, I was looking at some statistics, and something between the NIH quoted a few years ago. It's been updated since then. National Institutes of Health, sorry, excuse the abbreviation, that 72% of entrepreneurs have reported facing mental health issues of some sort, but only 45 to 52% actually seek help for that. The numbers are even lower, even higher reporting of mental health issues, but lower of seeking help when you break it down to women and people of color. And so, again, that being able to assess where you are and refocus and reinvest in yourself, seeking medical and clinical therapeutic mental health is a form of reinvestment into yourself. It is a active point of self-care, and the numbers around mental health and entrepreneurship and those starting a business versus those who are even 50-year in, it does not change that much, right? So Princess Ami versus Adani, who's been running his business for decades now, the numbers are consistent. So, and as someone with my family, we have a history of generations of struggling with mental health. It is something that it's always at the top of my mind. And I think now, as I'm starting out this business, sort of, again, what tools in my tool belt that I need to keep me focused, to keep me running, to keep that 24/7 activity going, Princess? It's, is that community that we've built, is it enough? So again, when we're talking about mental health and entrepreneurship, it is a problem, and it is a problem that it seems it's hard for us to fix. And as entrepreneurs, we can fix so many things. We want to do so many things, but that looking back and reinvesting in ourselves, it seems that we have struggled with it.
If you black and in America, even white people who are descendants of slave owners, everybody needs a damn therapist.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Everybody. You in America, you need a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Think that you can own somebody is something mentally ill with that person, or like
Well,
Trump
they say
said,
racism is a mental illness, right?
yeah, like, huh?
They say racism, that pointed bigotry, is a form
You're
of
damn
mental
right
illness.
it is.
Yeah.
The fact that you think you can sell somebody.
When it comes to mental health, there are a lot of statistics available for mental health disorders and pregnancy. So, mental
Mm-hmm.
health disorders affecting women while pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and then the aftermath of being pregnant. So, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 22.7% of pregnancy related deaths were associated with a mental health condition. And of that breakdown, 13.7% related to hemorrhage, 9.2% related to infection. When I think of mental health as a now business owner, mom, I started my business during the COVID pandemic. The
Oof.
COVID pandemic for many people was the pinnacle of a mental health breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
We were forced to stay in our homes while the outside world battled this unknown COVID. What was it? What did it mean? How would it affect the kids? How would it affect, you know, parents who couldn't send their kids to school? There were so many levels of a mental health necessity that when I was beginning my business journey, what prompted me to go into business for myself was when I was a new mother, my son was an infant, and I was denied a workplace accommodation to breastfeed my son. So you talk
Oh,
about the necessity of being a parent, and your primary fundamental goal when you become a new parent is called survival of the fittest. How am I going to provide for my kids? How am I going to take care of my son or my daughter? So for me, as a new mother, I had all the breast milk to give. I was overproducing it at 80 ounces a day. And so, well, on one end, because I had the milk to give, it meant I didn't have to purchase formula. So many women are forced to sacrifice their careers because of either employers who do not respect the need for a woman to breastfeed in the working environment.
mm-hmm.
They don't know what that entails. Or they're forced to give up their jobs because they're having to choose between work and income, which should not be the case. And so for me, when it happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
and this was like about 2021 is not that long ago. That's about 3 years ago. When it happened to me, and I was told by the Social Security Administration that they would not give me 30 minutes per day to breastfeed my son, it was in that moment I had to make a change because the government has a stereotypical persona of providing job security. But for me, I was a new mother in need of job security and needed 30 minutes per day to breastfeed my son, which was providing him the security to grow and mature. So if my employer isn't giving me the workplace accommodation to take care of my kid, if my husband at the time isn't providing the resources or the emotional support I need, then how do I help myself? Mental health is about taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of other people. And the only way to take care of other people is to figure out how do I empower myself to succeed on another level. So that's when Voiceover Inspires Entertainment was created. The purpose of voiceover my company, is to offer hope to the voice that is lost. Because when I was a new mother, I almost lost my voice. I was in a predicament of having to choose between, like I said, income and a career. And to this very day, I I am still judged by that decision. People still judge and attack me because I put my child first, because I became a stay at home mom that year. But what I learned was essential. I learned that my baby, he needed me at that time. And as babies should, they need their parents from a very early age to nurture and provide the nature that they need. So, the problem and challenge of mental health is we live in a society that tells us we have to go to work in order to pay the rent. We have to go to work in order to pay the mortgage. We have to go to work in order to pay the bills. But what we're not teaching is from an early on age that we also have to provide for our kids in a sense where sometimes we need a stay at home mom. Sometimes you need a stay at home dad. Why? Because kids can't raise kids. And nowadays you have kids having babies early on in age because there's no one to raise them. Now, that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other show. We're not even going to go there. But at the end of the day, we're talking about mental health. And if we're going to be frank about mental health is not just about the entrepreneur trying to take care of a business, trying to find the funds to support a business. It's all about those government entities, those private industries respecting the need for women to provide breast milk to their kids.
Yeah.
And so that means, you know what? Social Security Administration, you should have given me 30 minutes per day. But that's the decision that they make. But you know who taught me something powerful? When I started working for Baltimore County Office of Child Support Enforcement under the state of Maryland, I remember having a boss. And I remember on my first day of work at Baltimore County Office of Child Support Enforcement, he shook my hand. He asked me about what happened with my last job. And I said, "Oh, I was laid off." And he said, "Their loss is our gain."
Hey.
I was I was like, you know what? My mind shifted. Why? Because when one situation turned into a perceived loss or defeat, it's an opportunity for us to pivot and reflect, pick ourselves back up, and walk into a moment of grace, a moment where we are needed, a moment where people will celebrate and uplift us. And in that moment, I realized that what I was leaving, I was walking into something far greater. And so this is why I've learned how to walk away from situations and people that don't serve me well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing as entrepreneurs. This is why most of us are entrepreneurs. It's not that we can't work for other people, because I can work for other people and I'm a great worker. I'm a
We
great
have a
employee.
low tolerance for dumb stuff.
But
Yeah.
it's recognizing at your very core of existence that I have a unique gift you can't pay me for.
Right.
And my gift allows me an opportunity to make money. But most of us don't have a business mindset. So how do I take my gift
Too
and
many of us.
monopolize it?
Too many of us don't. We
Yeah.
don't know if it's most, but too many of us don't.
No.
Or I will say this: too many of us are not willing to take that leap of faith,
Oh,
and we feel stuck at a job. How many people do you know hate their job?
Look,
no,
I didn't necessarily hate my job, but I knew I was not. What did we mention earlier in this show, Donnie? That book, A Purpose-Driven Life. I was not leading a purpose-driven life, and I felt it in my soul. And although I was good at what I was doing, I was still around, scholarly and bookish people. I was very much situated within the tech world, and I wanted to get closer to the content. I wanted to get closer to the people creating the manuscripts, writing the articles, writing the books. And I couldn't do that from the position in which I was in. And at the time, the last year or so, anyone that would listen, I would say, "Oh, I'm tired of, I don't want to talk to these people all day. I'm tired of answering to this all day. I want to get on my own. I have all these ideas. There's Baltimore is having this sort of literary renaissance. Why, I need to be a part of this." And God, they say he works in mysterious ways. Almost to the 60-day mark now, I was laid off. And it was it was a layoff I'm not necessarily was prepared for. I just bought a house 2 years ago. So the nest egg is not as fat as it was. But it really, I think God sort of put me into this position because I was comfortable, Princess. I was good at what I was doing. The last time I actually had to hunt for a job was maybe 12 years ago because people were coming after me. And he said, no, you're going to put in this work and you want this. This is your dream, Stephanie. Do it. And there were those first few weeks transitioning from being laid off until, okay, what are you going to do next? Where's your passion? It was difficult. And I think that if I did not have, one of the first persons I called was Donnie. And from that first email that I sent out and letting my friends and families and colleagues know this is a situation and this is what I want to do, Donnie, within the 20 minutes of getting the email, called me and said, what do you need? And I think finding those people, if anything, I want folks to get away from the show today. If you're an entrepreneur starting out, the importance of that community when you first step out there and as you grow, it will keep you going. You have to have that grit in you internally just to step out the door. You have to rely on yourself and your strength, and you have to put back into yourself and seek that mental health care. But that when you're first stepping out, the community that you build, I find has been so important to keep putting that one foot in front of the other, to keep going and to keep that motivation.
And paying it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the energy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing is, we can talk about a lot of different topics, but investment and investing is huge. And so I say this all the time, and I come from very humble beginnings, and I don't admonish anyone to follow in my footsteps.
Why? Millionaires. Why don't she cut the crap?
Well, no, I'm so serious. I don't admonish anyone to follow into my footsteps because I started and did what was right for me. And whether or not that was right or not, I used what I had in order to start my business. And I'm very honest about it. I used what little savings I had. I used what, a little bit of retirement I set aside for purpose of going back to school. I used my credit cards. I did. And it's what I had. And I don't tell anyone else to do that. I had to use what I had and then pay that stuff back because it was an investment into myself.
Yep.
And so whatever you have is what you use to create. Right now, I'm trying to figure out, now, how do I make $16,000 a day? How do I go from this amount to $500,000 in 30 days? Now, I mean, that's how my mind works. That's where investors come into play. I'm looking for an investor to invest in my business so that I can then invest it back into myself. And one might say, well, why do you need all that money? Because I got a mortgage to pay. I mean, at the end of the day, we still have bills. All of us do. But what it's about is, I think I said this yesterday, it's uplifting the community. It's uplifting each other. And it's being very honest and real about where we are in a moment in time. Because mental health is not just, on Friday, Johnny and I did a show. It's not just about, I use an infrared sauna to keep my immune system strong. I refer to Gupta when I want brain retraining. I, refer to Golden Health Holistics when I'm looking for a whole, the right supplement to heal my body, because it's about also eating well and fueling our bodies with nutrition. But when it comes to business, the mental health of business has everything to do with how well we interact with other business owners. It's about creating that social circle so that we can grow and pivot. And I so admire you, Steph, because you're juggling all of these different roles and responsibilities, and you understand the internal world of publication. So I know if I want to write a book, if I have a manuscript, I'm going to call Steph, because Steph understands what I need to do from beginning to end to write that book. Now, once that book is published, right, and Steph has put her little genius stamp on it, I then know if someone wants a voiceover, all right, me and Steph can align. I'll do the voiceover, for whatever Steph needs, because Steph is the owner of Books and Bounty. So, fortunately
and we
enough,
don't do AI over here. We don't do AI.
We don't do AI over here.
We don't do AI over here. So
yeah. And that's a whole other show
any
too.
audio books coming out of Books and Bounty will not be AI generated.
that's a good thing, because right now, we talked about this yesterday, the influx of artificial intelligence
Hmm.
using voiceover for creating video content, media, as well as just everyday essays
Yep.
that people need in order to provide content for their websites or
Hmm.
their schools or their,
Hmm.
their educational um, assignments. So yeah, so the influx of artificial intelligence is unfortunately taking work from some people, but I do believe that there are still organizations that value the hands-on essence of a human being providing a single touch of care, the emotions that only can be found in human beings. Whether it's at the grocery store and the self checkout line is not working, who do we call? We call a
Hmm.
human being to help us with the self checkout line. And that's like the world of, that's how I think of artificial intelligence. When it fails and it doesn't work, we need a human being, whether it's a voice, whether it's an author, to really bring it together and provide that human interface.
And speaking of like artificial intelligence and connecting it with the topic of today, I was how AI and sort of the collective mental state of creators right now. I know you guys are all, everyone out there is familiar with the Writers and Actors Guild's protest that sort of put everything in Hollywood on hold for quite some time. There's still some negotiations going on with those groups and others. Princess, I'm sure you can talk about that. But there's a lot of controversy in the book world right now around AI generated covers. And as someone who's a magpie to a pretty cover, I can spot them like that.
Mm.
And going around the Baltimore Book Festival a couple weekends ago, speaking of operational costs, that's something I'm looking for now as sponsors to help keep me going to these events. Books are expensive, so that's what Stephanie's goals are in the next few days, is looking for a sponsor for Books and Bounty to keep me running and covering these literary and cultural events. But AI in artistic development, AI and artistic creation has taken over the book world when it comes to publishers and agents getting manuscripts that were submitted. You can tell when things are written by AI. Princess, I was telling you last night
Oh,
about.
I gotta cut you right there.
Oh, sorry.
We got a breaking guest, but
Okay,
I did
let's
want to
hear.
remind you, Stephanie, to touch base with Nati at everyone's place. But
Yes.
we have a gentleman, Leroy. What you doing? I didn't know what you were doing. Okay, so unmute yourself, Leroy. There you
Can you
go.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Leroy, Stephanie has a new company, and she's in her first 30 days.
Okay.
Books and Bounty. Princess does voiceovers. Now, welcome to the New Life Recovery Show. If I think better, I do better. You are here, Leroy, since you are all things authors. You are here to help relieve some of their mental anguish.
Okay.
I want you to tell them what you do and how you might be able to help them in their business, because
Hmm.
that would bring me some mental relief. And by the way, Leroy's just getting back from hanging out with those mates across the pond in Great Britain. He was over there partying with the Queen.
Oh, Trudy Garcia.
That's hilarious, Donnie. Oh, good afternoon, Donnie and ladies. Thanks, Donnie, for hitting me up and asking me to come on.
Thank you for
Um,
answering the phone.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know good and well. Leave me a message, man. If you need me to call you right back. You know that. So don't play with me. Just like you. But anyway, I am the Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder and President CEO of JNF Enterprises, and we have a couple of different things that we do. But since Donnie has me on here talking about books, what I do is I do book publishing consulting. I work with authors or aspiring authors who are seeking to write their book, or they have a book that's written, but they're seeking to do more marketing and branding, and gain more exposure for their projects that they have. So I work with them in that capacity. But I
Oh,
also
so
do yeah, I also
sorry.
do business consulting as well too, along with that too, for entrepreneurs who are seeking to start or to grow their business as well. So that's
Okay,
just
so
a little bit about
Princess,
what I do.
give me your elevator spiel. 30 seconds.
My company, Voiceover Inspires Entertainment, provides storytelling services to anyone in need of a voiceover for animation, commercial, branding, e-learning, and any type of audio content that can serve the greater good. I operate a home-based remote source connect studio, which is broadcast quality, and it can provide any level of professional quality voiceover services to anyone. In terms of what my niche, though, is, I believe in empowering the community and uplifting other people. I use my voice. See, I'm an African American and Honduran woman, and there's not a whole lot of us doing what I do. So I use my voice from the standpoint of providing a diverse experience to the stories that I tell. Because not
Oh,
everyone
okay,
has
okay.
my
That's
experience. So that's
that's
what I do.
yeah, five ums in there. Okay, come on, Stephanie.
I did at 5 arms. I told you I got 4 hours of sleep.
Okay, well,
Books and Bounty is a micro publisher specializing in editorial production for small content management teams, nonprofit organizations, and other content creators. So, our ultimate goal is to be a curated space of bookish things, people, and events, and to amplify voices of color, women, and local authors using different channels. For example, we are Books and Bounty is one of the first channels in the new writing and reading category on Twitch. So we host a weekly streaming show. But that is all in efforts, again, to get people back to our editorial production services. This includes things such as copy editing, copywriting, and what Dr. McKenzie mentioned, full book development for fiction and nonfiction writers. You can check us out, booksandbounty.com, where you can see some of my experience and some of the new things that we're doing to amplify diverse voices on different I would say not unusual, but new, modern, and unique ways of book marketing and book influencing. So, Dr. McKenzie, I would love to talk to you. We are growing our online presence, and like I said, our Twitch channel is steadily growing. We're in a new, recently published writing and reading category. I would love to bring some of your authors and their voices as we grow that channel with Twitch.
okay, you had four arms. We're gonna let you slide though. And look, your elevator spiel, that was pretty good. I gotta tell you, seasoned veterans couldn't have laid it down better. And as your mentor, no, we ain't letting you slide with the arms, but you both did spectacular jobs. Now, there was one thing that you should know about each of them, Leroy. One, Stephanie used to work for the Baltimore Banner. She helped them to get into the position that they're in now. And then among Princess's skills, she's a child support expert. So I know you know
Hmm.
cats that might need some help navigating.
That is
Like
true.
there's one basic thing: a lot of cats lose their driver's license, and they don't know that one letter with the letterhead from their employer saying this person needs that vehicle to drive in order to keep their employment will keep your license. Is that correct, Princess?
Yeah, to my understanding, I mean, sometimes it may depend on the circumstance, but sometimes there are opportunities where the Baltimore County Office of Child Support Enforcement or other offices can help people with a suspended license.
Yes. So
I
so
am,
don't
yeah.
just give up. I mean, I know
Yeah.
people we just give up. Oh, they took my license. No, there are resources, and that's a part of mental health too. Child support is mean, but it is something we can deal with. So Leroy, why don't you put your information out there, and then also maybe in a private chat. But I gotta tell you, all of us can learn from Leroy, and let me tell you, Leroy and I go back. Shucks, our families go back 50 years.
At least, yes, yeah, yeah,
His mom and my
yeah.
sister were besties.
Best friends. They went to they went to high school together, if I'm not
Forest
mistaken.
Park.
Yeah, Forest Park. Yep.
Yeah. So would they say 6 degrees of separation?
Hmm.
It's real. It
Yep.
is real.
Come on, tell them something good, Leroy. Tell them what you think of their businesses.
No, I think that both of their businesses are businesses that are needed, especially in this era that we're in. And I know that I caught the tail end of it, so I don't know how much you all went into it, but the impact that AI is having on the literary industry
Oh,
and and where it's going.
yeah.
Not just where it is, but where it's actually going as well too. And so that's an important aspect of what you all are doing. I think that your both of your pitches were excellent. When I listen to people do pitches, and even when I do them myself, it's really about three things: who you are, what you do, and how you do it. Those three things. You want to be able to articulate that as quickly as possible. Give people those three strong points to let them know, and then hopefully what you're saying connects with them to the point where they understand the benefit initially of what you offer, and then you can move into a deeper conversation about the products and services that you offer, and then also how you can make their business, their brand better, because that's what I
Le-
do. My thing is
Leroy,
about
tell them
how
how
to make people better.
Leroy, how did you
Yeah.
get across the pond over there in England? And where did you find these black Christians in England? I mean, what was you on a crusade or something? I thought you was a Muslim.
No, I'm a part of an organization called Christian Business Owners, the CBO, and the summit is the Christian Business Owners Summit has been going on for I think at least 10 years now. But last year we went. The summit was in Kihancha, Kenya. So I had the opportunity to be able to go to Kenya, and it's what it is we were Christian business owners that went over. It was a team of us that went over, and we talked. Went to did teaching with some of the leaders, some of the entrepreneurs, some of the Christian leaders, pastors, elders over in Kihancha last year, and then this year it was held in London, England. Same thing, Christian business owners. We've been over connected with entrepreneurs, Christian business owners in London. And Donnie, I don't know if you know this, but there are a lot of us in London.
Oh,
When that was
yes.
one of the things I
I watch
saw, it
Top Boy, man. You ever watch Top Boy?
no,
You gotta check
but
out Top Boy, man.
yeah, there
Especially by way
are.
of West Africa
It
and the
is.
Caribbean.
That was the it didn't surprise me, but
Hmm.
there are a lot of black entrepreneurs, black people in London. I mean, I was like, wow. I'm like, this
Including
is
Jamaican.
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. Jamaicans and Africans, to be real with you, to be
That's
honest
what
with
I
you.
said. West Africa, by way of West
Yeah,
Africa and the Caribbean.
yeah,
Yeah, way
yep,
back since before
absolutely.
slavery.
And
Yeah.
so it was wonderful to be able to be a
Always
part of
been
that.
system.
Um, it was wonderful. It's wonderful to be a part of that. And Donnie, you're like this. Next year is going to be held in Ghana. So it's
Why don't you
each
put the
year for the
information out there, wait until the last minute? Oh, by the way, I'm hanging out with the British. And it's like, oh, man, you knew this for a whole damn year.
I,
You ain't said a word.
no, I've been putting it out there. You just haven't seen it. It's been out there because we've had the information out there. So she just announced the other day that it's going to be in Ghana. So it's another full year. September 20th of 2025 will be in Ghana.
How much is
As
the trip to England?
it depends if you use the travel agent, because we have a travel agent that you can use, or you can do it on yourself if you're going to be a speaker. Of course, you work out the details of what they'll do for you, and kind of how that will work out. But it's very reasonable. It's very reasonable, especially if you're planning it out. If you're planning it out, you got a whole year to work it out and to be able to put your money
What's
aside and everything like
what's
that
the
to
nut?
go
What's
on
the
the trip.
nut? How much, Leroy? Stop playing.
No, at minimum, I'm going to say at least. I would say you need to have at least 1,500.
Okay.
At least 1,500. Yes, I told you it's not bad at all. So
I just had
so
a dream I
That
was
flight
in
will get
China
you. The
for 10
flight.
days.
Yeah.
say it again.
I just had a dream that I was in China for 10 days.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just saying it. I went to the Middle East for $500 for 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Did you? Oh man. Okay.
There are all kinds of, you look at the embassies, you look at the different travel boards with the various countries. We got DC right next door with all of the embassies. So
Yeah.
let's just
Correct.
do a wrap up because we've gone over. Let's go around the horn. Start with you, Stephanie, Princess, and Leroy, and we'll get on out of here. Your final thoughts for today's show.
I would say my final thoughts are taking away from this, and again, something that is going to be an ongoing theme in Books and Bounty as we get it off the ground is building your community and finding that support system. As Princess mentioned earlier, we are all small or micro businesses. We are not at the point where we are necessarily hiring employees, but but our team consists of our community. And that's what I would leave the crowd with today is if you're an entrepreneur, in order to protect your mental health, is to keep your community solid and to keep reinvesting in that community.
And how can people get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me, Steph at booksandbounty.com, or you can take a look at our website, booksandbounty.com.
Good deal. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I love that blouse. Princess
Yes.
Williams
Okay. Yeah.
Evans.
Yes. So my name is Princess Tykara Williams Evans, and my mission is nothing short of transformative. I use my voice and the power of it to liberate, uplift, and inform audiences around the world. Through the art of storytelling, I connect with diverse audience, selling not just brands, but cultures and ideas. You can contact me at princesswevoiceover.com. That's Princess, W-E, voiceover, all one word, .com, or you can text or message me at 443 area code 593-5415. You can email me
One more
at
time.
Yeah. One more time.
Little slow.
443 593 5415. I'll do it a third time. 443 593 5415.
That's how you get business.
And Dr.
And
McKenzie,
my
while we're on the
email.
line, I'm going to go ahead and put my number out there as well.
Hold on
You
one
can
Okay.
second. So the
add
email
up.
address
Oh, sorry,
is,
Princess.
no, you're fine. The email address is princess we
Mhm.
voiceover at gmail.com. To make it easy, princesswevoiceover at gmail.com, all one word. If you go to my website, I also have another email on there. So you can go to my website, Google Voiceover Inspires Entertainment, and you will come across my business and hopefully more contact information, more details about what I provide to help your business needs.
Steph?
Yeah, I forgot to give you guys how to reach me via phone. So Steph at booksandbounty.com via email. Phone number is 443-570-4459. Again, 443-570-4459. Contact me for any of your editorial production needs. I am your connection for micro indie publishers and self-publishers. It was great talking to you guys tonight. I can't wait to see you again next week.
This is Black Wall Street. On Wednesday, both of these ladies, Leroy, will be recognized with the Joe Mann's Black Wall Street Award. Leroy, did we ever give you a Black Wall Street?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe you did. It's been a few years, but I believe I did. With the one you did down off of was it Maryland Avenue off of 25th Street? I think that was the one that
Wow.
you that received the award. I know that's been a couple years, but
Well, we'll be down at Black Swan on Wednesday. It will be a mega event. Do bring your business cards.
Mhm.
More than that, bring a positive attitude. Leroy, any final thoughts?
not just I think this is phenomenal. I'm always great to meet those that are doing phenomenal things in the literary world and as entrepreneurs as well too. That's awesome. And I'll leave my contact information as well. You can go to my link tree, which is http colon link linktr.ee/JNF Enterprises. That has all of the social media instead of going through all of that. And then my phone number for the ladies, because yes, I do want to connect with you, Donnie. Thank you for this as well. My direct number is 443-762-2324.
Let me let you ladies know, Leroy helped me with my last book specifically because my regular person is dealing with taking care of a loved one, and I was burning Leroy's phone up. So this is a way of paying it forward. You know, he was there for me, so we have to be there for each other, and that's what it's really about. You never know when
Absolutely.
you're going to need somebody, and Leroy, I'm supposed to do something for you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you if you got my message. Yeah, tomorrow evening, I need you, and I'll send you the link once I get it today or tomorrow morning for the National Black Unity News newspaper. So
Okay.
we're going to be talking. Yeah, we're going to have the author showcase, and I have a couple of you all that I want to have come on to be able to talk about your projects and all of the great things that you do, and yours specifically about media and what you're doing in the media space. So
Okay. All right, I'm
yeah,
there. Thank
okay,
you,
cool.
everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
If I think better, I do better. We all we got. That's what them cats say. Andre Butler and them say, we all we got, we all we
Yeah, all
need.
we get.
We have
Yes, sir.
$1.6 trillion in annual disposable income. In my mind, no black business worth its salt with a decent product or service ought to be struggling. So there's synergy just right here in this circle. I
Yes,
see
sir.
it.
Yep.
We all have words, written and oral, in common. All of us. That's our
Yep.
business.
Yes.
Have a great afternoon,
That's
everyone.
Have a good day. Thank you all. Thank you.